guys remember Funimation? I've been watching Assassination Classroom lately and the intro has brought me so much nostalgia. Back in my early anime watching days, I vividly remember the signs of whether the anime that I was watching would be good or bad, whether it was that one logo that you would see in the beginning of an anime movie. You guys know which one I'm talking about, right? Or you would see the Ghibli symbol before a Ghibli movie, or mainly for me, it was the Funimation symbol followed by the whisper that was like, you should be watching. That is how I knew that the anime that I was about to watch would be an absolute banger. But lately I've noticed that new gen animes don't really have that intro anymore, and I wondered what happened to it. Funimation simply stopped making the intro, and I realized that Funimation actually merged with Crunchyroll in 2024. Which actually surprised me. I've been off the grid from anime TikTok for a while because 2020 was wild and you really need to recover from something like that. So I wasn't aware of the merge until last week. Seeing them merge gave me quite mixed emotions because weren't they rivals? And what does this merge mean for us, the fans? Hi, hello lovely people, and welcome back to the channel. I have a Spider-Man shirt. And if you don't know, I love Spider-Man. Today, we're just going to be ranting. And without further ado, let's get into the video. Funimation was a subscription service that was based in the United States, like all good things. It launched in 2016 and later on merged with Crunchyroll on March of 2022. Eventually got shut down by April 2024. RIP to Funimation. You were once loved by us all. When I was younger, I didn't know that Funimation was a subscription service. I thought it was an animation company, which essentially they were. Funimation partnered up with Toei Animation, and based on my understanding, the main point of Funimation was to popularize anime in the West, and I think they did a pretty good job at that. It was specifically for Dragon Ball Z, and then later on, as time went on, they began streaming other animes on their website. In 2016, Funimation rebranded and launched its services in the UK and Ireland, and also announced their partnership with Crunchyroll, which meant that animes that were on Crunchyroll would stream on Funimation, and animes that were available on Funimation were able to stream on Crunchyroll. Why is it such a bad thing that they merged? I mean, they both have the same goal in sight, right? To popularize anime in the West. Now, at first when they merged, there wasn't anything wrong with it, but later on in the years, problems started to arise and to affect the quality of anime watching experience as we know it. Funimation and Crunchyroll were the two leading anime subscription services, and like good rivals, they brought out the best in each other. But now with the merge, Crunchyroll doesn't really have any other subscription services to compete with, other than the mainstream subscription services, of course. What this essentially means is that Crunchyroll can pretty much get away with anything on their site or app because they are the sole contender. I've seen a lot of complaints about either the subtitles being wrong, animes that are being taken off the website. It causes a lot of problems because in cases like this, it's not like you can just jump to another subscription service. You're either gonna have to go through the mainstream or you're gonna have to use a pirated website, which contradicts the entire point of the subscription service because you're paying to watch anime when you could be watching anime for free. Another problem with Crunchyroll being the sole competitor in this space is that it controls which anime it can push to the mainstream due to the fact that Crunchyroll is owned by Sony Japan. So they could popularize animes that were produced by Sony Japan or have some correlation to it. But what about animes that aren't tied to Crunchyroll or Sony Japan? What happens to them? From what I've gathered, Sony owns a license on an anime for a certain amount of time, and once the licensing from that anime expires, it gets taken off the site, which could be an inconvenience to a lot of users. Anime has such a broad category. There is no one-size-fits-all approach, and not everybody that watches anime likes the same kind of anime. We have shonen, we have shoujo, we have harems, we have reverse harem, we have isekai, we have sci-fi, horror, and the list goes on. Minimizing the library of how much anime you can store could potentially cause you to lose a whole other audience that you didn't even know existed. I'm more of a switcher when it comes to anime. I will pretty much watch anything. I will sometimes switch between shonen, sometimes I'll watch a shoujo, sometimes I'll watch a reverse harem, sometimes I'll watch a Ghibli movie, and sometimes I just want to watch a 90s anime. What happens if I want to go to Crunchyroll and I want to watch Princess Mononoke and it's not available? It's not like I can go to Funimation and be like, oh yeah, I'll get it on Funimation. I will either have to go to a pirated website, or worse, buy the Blu-ray DVD version, which there's nothing wrong with that if you love collecting DVD animes, but I feel like that just costs more money because again, you're paying for the service, but it's giving you less than what you paid for. Another complaint that people have been complaining about is the subtitles in Crunchyroll. Now, I haven't had much experience with it, but as someone who has watched anime for a reasonable amount of times, you can tell when the subtitles don't match. And I can't imagine how annoying that must be for watchers. But apparently, I've been seeing it on Reddit and it's been an ongoing thing. And things have been especially worse now since Crunchyroll has announced that they will be using AI for their subtitles. Yes, you heard right. They are going to be using AI for their subtitles. Now, I don't want to focus too much on the political aspect of this collab. I'm going to save that for another video or maybe make a TikTok about it. But we all know by now that AI is growing at a rapidly fast rate. I think all of us by now has seen the Jake Paul makeup video, and it fooled me. I was like, oh my, is like Jake Paul doing something controversial again? And it turns out that the whole video is AI. And now with all these corporate companies just simply jumping on AI and implementing AI in their programs and their work, I never would have thought that it would affect the anime community. Sora AI has faced a lot of backlash because of the anime fighting scenes. I'm pretty sure you've come across one by now where they will make like two characters fight against each other. It would like be this entire fight scene between these two characters from completely different animes. And I saw that and I was like, oh, that's really good editing. And turns out that it was just AI. But I'm really glad to see that the anime community spoke up and was completely not for this. We all know by now that anime creators and animators do not get paid that much already. And the fact that we're seeing AI slowly beginning to replace their jobs is honestly such a sad thing to see. Anime is art, and like all art, it is created from the mind and the soul and the inspiration of a person. And AI can't do that. AI just recreates. It cannot create something new. Even if, hypothetically, animation companies started using AI, it won't feel creative. And I feel like it would be such a downfall for the anime community as well. As someone who appreciates animation, you can see the detail, the effort that it takes to animate a fight scene, a background scene, heck, even the food, to know that it was hand drawn by someone onto the screen. Like, you can sit there and appreciate that for a while, but an AI can't do that. As someone who grew up watching Ghibli and loving a lot of Ghibli films, I think Ghibli movies are the reason why I appreciate animation so much as an art form. It was just so sad to see the Ghibli AI trend, especially the amount of people that got onto it. Some people are still using it to this day and they don't understand the artwork of Ghibli or the Ghibli style. People were so quick to hop onto this trend. Completely disrespectful by itself. We also faced a lot of backlash back when the creator of Dragon Ball passed away, and a lot of people used AI images and people were like, this is disrespectful to the artist. But back to the Crunchyroll using AI for their subtitles. The fact that Crunchyroll is already implementing AI in their services will most likely turn most people away from their service. The Crunchyroll Anime Awards are in their 9th year, a night that celebrates anime culture, shows, characters, and music. Now, the main reason why I even know about the Crunchyroll Anime Awards was because of the uproar that it had in, I don't know if it was 2019, 2020, when Demon Slayer won Anime of the Decade Award, and it faced a lot of backlash. Back then, Demon Slayer only had 1 season. It just came out, I believe, and it was really popular, as you can imagine. Little about the voting process. The voting process of the Crunchyroll Anime Awards, from my understanding, works in 2 rounds. Each judge will summarize about 5 potential candidates for each category. The winner of each category will be determined by the judges and by us, the public viewers, on a 70-30 ratio. Now, I want you to sit there for a second and think about who's in the 70% and who's in the 30%. Did you get it? So 70% of the votes come from the judges and 30% of the votes come from us, the public viewers. Now, when I saw that ratio and I was like, oh, that makes so much more sense. And I don't even know how they choose the judges or who the judges are per se. It does make sense on why certain animes win the awards that won the awards. Is there something wrong with a mainstream anime winning Anime of the Year? No, but I feel like when it gets repetitive and it's only like mainstream anime that wins stuff like this, it kind of feels rigged at this point. Mind you, I've been watching the Anime Awards since like 2019 and I'm like, something is off. But I'm not the only one who has been feeling this way. This year, Solo Leveling won Anime of the Year. I have not watched Solo Leveling. I've heard so much about it and that it's a good anime. I'm honestly a little bit upset about that due to the fact that Apothecary Diaries was a clear competitor. And Frieren too. Like, I haven't watched Frieren, but I heard a lot more about it this year than Solo Leveling. I heard about Solo Leveling when it was coming out, but when it did come out, I didn't hear a lot about it. Frieren and Apothecary Diaries were clearly huge competitors, and Solo Leveling won, and it was just like I said, this isn't the first time this has happened. In 2017, Crunchyroll faced a lot of backlash due to the fact that Yuri on Ice won several awards, including Anime of the Year. So Crunchyroll decided to change its voting process to minimize popular mainstream anime from winning, and in the following year, Made in Abyss won instead of My Hero Academia at that time. But all jokes aside, I feel like Crunchyroll should have at least had a system by now that should have worked. I mean, it's been 9 and by next year, almost 10 years. Figure out a system that works. Doesn't matter who wins, it's not gonna please anybody. In my theory, anime awards are just a way to push mainstream animes out further. But hey, what do I know? The Crunchyroll Anime Awards aren't all bad. I think it's a good thing that anime is getting celebrated in a way, like almost like, you know, the Grammys and the Oscars, you know, that anime has their own award shows, and like any award show, people are gonna accuse it of being rigged. A lot of people accuse the Grammys of being rigged and artists that should have won not winning, like in the case of BTS not winning Grammys for years, even though they're the most popular boy band in the world. So I guess it's just one of those things, and I'm just being sour about it. And all in all, I just think the merge between Funimation and Crunchyroll is something that shouldn't have happened. It seemed like a good idea on paper, but in actuality, it's not working out. I think Crunchyroll needs a little bit of competition. I think I remembered vividly more of Funimation because they were a little bit more involved than Crunchyroll. And especially now with this merge, it feels like anime watching as a whole has become restricted. But anyways, that's all for today, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please make sure to like and subscribe if you've made it this far in the video. Like at this point, you have to. Make sure to check me out on my other social media, and I will see you guys in the next one. Okay, bye.